ho, ho, ho. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Landy Lodge podcast, where today we've got the legend Andy Bru up in here. But before we get into that, there are some beautiful people we need to thank, those people being the Sages of the Lodge. One of them is in the chat right now, Orpheus Joshua. But let's list them off. These people, they're the kind people, they donate as little as $1 gil a month to keep this train rolling, because there's no getting off this train we're on. So without further ado, a big shout out to all those people, which include YouTube channel members or those that have signed up through Anchor. So here we go. Alex Pamal, David Freeze, Chris and Maria Perkowski, Charlotte Astry, Shane Driscoll, Scott Castellano, Jillian Yason, Corey Barchat, Twilight Blaze, Nick Taborski, Kevin McBride, Henry Rudmatza, Michael Fay, Richard Arnold, Andrew Clay, Brendan Abrams, Gaseous Snake, Orpheus Joshua, Brady Burleson, AJ Wilhite, and Mookie DTRT 90. If you would like to be a Sage of the Lodge, there is a link in the episode description. But without further ado, and without me yapping it off here, Andy, my man, how's it going?
It's going. It's going. I'm chilling.
Chilling.
How you doing?
You're
I'm
back in
excited
the
to be
lodge,
here.
bro.
Back in the lodge. I can never escape. It's just I'm just here all the time, actually. You know, with the sickos, man. Like
hanging with the sickos and the normies. And listen, people, if you would be so kind, please follow Andy Bru. His links are in the episode description. So don't hesitate to do that, because as you've heard millions of times, if you don't follow Andy Bru, I can't do business with you. Clean and simple.
This guy.
But listen, dude, we're here to talk about Ansem the Wise. There's not a lot of Ansem the Wise talk, discourse, theories out there. And not a lot
of Ansem the Wise stands out there either.
Not a lot of stands, but to me, dude, I don't know. There's something about this character I've always loved. I'm sure we're going to get into unwrapping that here today, but maybe as like just a brief opening, what are your general thoughts on the character of Ansem the Wise?
Oh man, my general thoughts.
Yeah, your general thoughts.
Yeah. I love Ansem the Wise, dude. Like, for real. I think he's criminally underrated as a character. Doesn't get a lot of screen time, right? Doesn't get a ton of screen time in the series, but I really like his little redemption story, you know, and like kind of, you know, it's not really. Again, I say he's underrated because like we don't really see a lot of like his journey on screen, but like I feel like a lot of people give him like a little too much hate, and I don't think he deserves it, you know? So honestly, I'll be real with you. If I were to make a Kingdom Hearts tier list right now, this might be super controversial.
Oh, let's go. Where does he land?
I would put Ansem the Wise as like a borderline A tier character. I don't think he would be S tier. I don't think he'd be S.
Not enough action for S tier.
Right. He's borderline A for me, though.
I kind of sit in that same boat, dude. I don't know. I feel like some of the greatest moments this series has had to offer have actually come through Ansem the Wise. Like, I don't know how many people out there watched Blank Points, like, 3 times a week leading into Kingdom Hearts 3, but I know I did. And I just want to say, at least as far as Kingdom Hearts 2 is concerned, in my opinion, he's got the best death scene in the whole series. His entire speech about how, like, the little bit of research he got to do on Sora's heart literally made all of his research irrelevant. Made him rethink absolutely everything. I think there's a little line, it's like, all my research paled in comparison to that one boy's heart. But anyway,
so cool.
I just want to give a special shout out and an RIP, I suppose, to Christopher Lee, who voiced him in Kingdom Hearts 2. Because look, I don't know. Look, there were a lot of celebrities and big names who did the voice acting in Kingdom Hearts 2, and the series doesn't necessarily need that anymore, but it was a very cool thing back in the day. And, you know, there's a fine line between Mandy Moore phoning it in as Aerith and Christopher Lee, who read cover to cover the entire script of Kingdom Hearts 2 until he understood it and absolutely poured his soul into that performance in Kingdom Hearts 2. which to me create like, I feel like the series always needed its philosopher king, right? I love series that can find that sort of character because they can deliver so many of the greatest moments for us. And whether I look at Kingdom Hearts 2, where he had that amazing speech, the whole thing in Blank Points, which got me so hyped for Kingdom Hearts 3, and then his whole final scene in Dream Drop Distance where he hid the research in Sora's heart and Riku showed up.
Which is cool because at the end of whenever like in his death scene in Kingdom Hearts 2, like you were saying, like the line goes something like, my research pales in comparison to this boy's heart. So it's like, of course, I'm gonna hide like some of the most critical parts of my research in Sora's heart, right? I think that's so cool. I love it.
I think so too. And honestly, people forget how important a character Ansem the Wise is to Riku. Like, a big part of Riku's journey actually comes through a relationship with Ansem the Wise. Again, you see a lot of it in Kingdom Hearts 2 where he does it with Diz, but there's a great moment between the two characters where things come full circle. In Kingdom Hearts 2, he asks Riku his name, and what does Riku say? He takes off the hood and says, Ansem.
Ansem.
Right?
It's an honor.
Ansem.
Yeah. It's so ironic, right?
Right.
Again, he's the real Ansem.
Exactly.
Right.
But then it comes full circle in Dream Drop Distance where after the whole speech and scene, he goes, oh boy, I never did get your name. And then Riku says, Riku. He got his real name. He's asked him his name before, but never got his real name.
Right. It is cool too, because it's just like an ironic thing, but like in Enchanted Memories, whenever you first meet Diz, it's like, it's, Ansem the Wise as Diz, right? So like you first meet him, he's actually posing as Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, which is ironic, right? Because Ansem Sod, took his real name, right? It's just ironic.
No, there's layers, dude. There's layers. It's a cake with a lot of layers. Just so you know, feel free to interact with the chat at the end of the day.
For sure.
Chat's got to know. We'll get to all questions at the end. I can't guarantee we get to them in real time, but homie Anthony here dropped a really good question that I think can get us off to a good start here. Ansem is awesome and still holding too many secrets. What did he see when studying Subject X? That's a very good question. So for those who don't know, the running theory right now is that Subject X is Skuld. As for what Ansem could have seen or what of his apprentices may have reported on, if I were to guess, Anthony, I don't know. I would think it may have something to do with either the world of fiction or the Keyblade War from Union Cross. Skuld had to be some kind of connection to that, or time travel. Like maybe they were able to see, hey, this person's not from this time. How did they get here? That's just the first things that come off my head. I don't know if anything's running through yours.
Well, here's what I was thinking, right? Because I was recently like kind of rewatching, that scene. I was rewatching the scene in Kingdom Hearts 3 where Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, finds Ansem the Wise and Aqua, and he's asking about, among the test subjects was a girl. Where did you put the girl? And then Ansem the Wise is like, what girl?
Yeah.
And so it's like, in that moment, it's like, okay, is he just kind of like,
is he playing dumb or does he really not know?
Or does he actually not know? Because here's the thing, you go and read the reports of Kingdom Hearts 2, and whenever it talks about Ansem actually conducting these experiments, it says that he wanted to. He talks about, okay, the Radiant Garden, right? Because that's where he's from. That he's king over Radiant Garden, right? As it says. And so there's light here, but where there's light, there's darkness. So that kind of leads him on like this journey of like, all right, well, if I want to create this perfect paradise, let's study the darkness in people's hearts, and maybe we can actually. He even says in the first secret report of Kingdom Hearts 2, we want to make this place like a paradise. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like along that same lingo. And it says that Xehanort is the one who volunteered to be a subject. But then it says later on that his apprentices were the ones who they were the ones actually gathering more subjects behind his back. So what I've recently been thinking is, what if Ansem the Wise actually doesn't know about this girl, right? What if he's genuinely like, what girl are you talking about, right? Because it was the apprentices who were rounding up and who were doing the experiments on these other subjects.
This is a good point.
Yeah. So that's kind of, and that honestly, that didn't run through my head literally until like today. As we were like thinking about this discussion, as I was thinking about this discussion and like kind of just like doing a little bit of homework and kind of looking into it more, like, you know what, like what if he actually doesn't know? But then at the same time, you know, Ansem the Wise, he does take Ansem Seeker of Darkness to the mansion in Twilight Town, Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's whenever the Hainer gang, you know, intervenes and everything.
Hainer with the high jump kick.
With the freaking kick, dude. I love
Who
it.
knew he had it in him? Who knew he had it in him?
What a guy. We need a Hainer game. Forget a Kyrie game. Forget a Riku game. Forget a Verum Rex. Nah, give me a Hainer game. It's actually it's the Keyblade. It's a Hainer beat 'em up.
You're gonna kill me, dude. Oh God, that shit went down the wrong pipe, man.
Anyway, we're not talking about Hater, but I just.
But going back to your point with Ansem, because like, dude, here's the thing: it's not like he's someone who has something to hide. He very clearly wanted to atone for what he did in Kingdom Hearts 3, and he was very open about how he wronged Roxas, how he wronged Naminé. Like he played all of that basically with an open hand. If he knew about Skuld, I think this would be another thing he'd be trying. Like, what? 1 year passed post Kingdom Hearts 3 into Melody of Memory. Was Ansem the Wise just like, I'm not going to tell anyone about, Subject X down there. I'm not going to tell anyone I know. Like, if he knew something, they'd be studying it. They would know about it.
That's true, too. It's like, because, I don't know, if I'm somebody who, like, I want to atone for, like, if I want to make as many amends as possible, I'm going to lay everything out there, right? Like, why does he need to hide? I mean, granted, he could be hiding Subject X from the Seekers of Darkness, That is a possibility, but part of me kind of wants to think that maybe he doesn't actually know about it, Like, I don't know. And so...
It could be something that Lushu's playing close to the chest, because if I'm not mistaken, in the secret reports, Lushu's the one who lets Subject X out.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 reports, I believe.
It's possible. He's because like Brady in the chat brings up a good point. He's like, if Ansem the Wise didn't know about Subject X because his apprentices kept it from him, wouldn't Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, like know that and therefore not ask him about the girl? And that's a good point too. That if they were
a very good point.
Yeah, if they were deliberately keeping it from him, then there'd be no reason for them to ask about her. But I actually think this could be something Lushu is playing close to the chest. We did see him in Union Cross say he would look over the dandelions and watch over them.
Yeah.
This is probably no exception.
I think you're onto something because, again, like going off of Brady's comment, right? Like, that it's so true. Like, why would Ansem Sod ask Ansem the Wise? What if they both don't know? There's a possibility that Lushu... it has something to do with this because we all know Lushu, right? He's playing
4D chess. He's playing 4D chess.
So that's very interesting to think about because now that we've brought that up, I'm kind of leaning towards that direction now because I mean honestly the only one that really like Luxord was the only one who really was like, like why are we searching for this box? Because you're the one who gave out the mission. No one else, so it's like, yeah, Lushu, he's obviously is doing his own thing. That is a very real possibility, And I'm kind of leaning towards that now. Yeah. Yeah, he's a clever little sneak. He is. I love it.
Yeah, no, but it's interesting, though, because, you bring up a good point that a lot of Ansem the Wise's characterization does happen off screen. And one of the things that I love so much about the character is he falls into that redemption arc. He falls into that redemption pocket, which that's a lot of what Kingdom Hearts is about. Like, it's funny. I spoke with a commenter on our latest video about this, but it's like, I think anybody who thinks permanent death is going to be a thing in Kingdom Hearts doesn't really understand what's going on. And I don't mean that in like a mean way, but it's like Ansem the Wise blew himself up and he came back one numbered title later. Like
Right.
the death and
Yeah.
the death and rebirth thing is like it's like it's taking the hero's journey and being quite literal about it. It's like for this
Yes.
character to die and be reborn, they literally are going to die and be reborn. And in many ways, you could see that with Sora, with him nearly being possessed in Dream Drop Distance, and then having to start from level 1 in Kingdom Hearts 3. That's his own little redemption arc.
Which is cool too, because
yeah.
like with the whole like, you know, Ansem the Wise, you know, he explodes and then he's reborn. He comes back at Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's like, you know, it was that him, you know, messing up Kingdom Hearts and in Kingdom Hearts 2 with the whole data thing. I don't even know what the freak it is, but whatever. You know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about.
And yeah, and so like, you know, I would say that was probably like the start, you know, of his redemption. But now it's like he's okay. Now he's being reborn. It's time to fully atone in Kingdom Hearts 3, right? So, yeah. No, and that's like, again, that's why like I think he's a great character. You don't have to like everything about him. In fact, you can despise quite a bit of things about him, especially like older Ansem the Wise. You know, like why did you even have to like? Was it foolish to even do these experiments in the first place? He even acknowledges that. Yeah, it was. And I think it takes such a humility, especially if you're a researcher and a scientist, to really acknowledge that, like, I've made a grave mistake. Like, this is wrong. You know, like I'm a fool for thinking of this. You know, I think that's admirable of him. And like because his apprentices went behind his back, and he literally tried. He told them to stop. Like, he tried to stop them. And so, like, I think some people might forget that sometimes, right? Like, it's not all of his fault. Yeah, he started the experiments, but hey, let's be real. Xehanort volunteered, right? Like, you know, and then it kind of spiraled out of control from there. But I think, you know, I like his redemption story a lot, and I think it gets pretty overshadowed by, you know, things that he has done, and it's like his flaws. Like, why are people like taking Ansem the Wise and like making his flaws like heavier than his like redemption, if that makes sense? You know,
No, 100%. I would agree. I mean, I think one of the cool things the character shows us is that it's the fall of a good man. Like, if you look at like who Ansem the Wise was before all of this happened, again, he was like this philosopher king of Radiant Garden who all his research was being done in the name of how do we make this a paradise? How do we make this a prosperous place? And again, this is classic archetype. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. He was so concerned, him and the scientists were so concerned about whether or not they could, they didn't consider whether or not they should. And again, something else that I love so much about the character too is like, yes, like you don't have to like his thirst for vengeance, right? But I can't help but think about like, and I bring the story up quite a lot, but like Dante's Inferno, when he gets to the pit of hell, and in the pit of hell is betrayal, because that betrayal will create a thirst for vengeance in those who were betrayed, and that creates this hellish cycle. You know, that's kind of the point it makes. And like, that's what drove Ansem the Wise into the darkness, was that these apprentices that he took in, like Apprentice Xehanort was freaking homeless in the middle of the town square, and he took him in. You know, Ienzo is obviously in some kind of situation where he needs to be fostered after. A lot of these guys ended up on Ansem the Wise's doorstep because they were lost or they were looking for something, and he takes them in, they betray him, and then, to his credit, he goes through quite a wave of 4D chess, using Naminé and Riku and Sora and Roxas as all these like puzzles on the board, these pieces on the board, and his vengeance comes in self-sacrifice, and it's not even vengeance anymore. He came full circle, and another line of his I love, he's like, "Oh, Xehanort, foolish apprentice of a foolish man." Like, it's so good. So good.
I think, you know, it's I mean, he's human, arguably one of the most human characters in the whole
Absolutely.
series, you know, and so like even I'm actually looking at some stuff in chat. You know, did Ansem stop his Anthony says, Ansem stop his research when experimenting with Subject X, probably as a record of her memories. Ansem stopped his research whenever he found out what his apprentices were doing. with it, and because they don't even mention Subject X in the Kingdom Hearts 2 reports at all. That's not until Kingdom Hearts 3.
Right.
And I think the dude 38356 says, "Why couldn't Ansem the Wise use the corridors of darkness to escape the realm of darkness himself? He's not Diz anymore."
Right.
And that's also something that they actually kind of touch on a little bit in the secret reports, where like, you know, because he was actually banished in blank point. Is it blank? Yeah, it's blank points. He says to Aqua, "This is my second time on these shores," because before he was actually banished here by his apprentices. It talks about that in the secret reports. And then the darkness kind of it affects him. You know, it takes a hold of him, and then he becomes what he says, darkness and zero. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, whenever he's blown up and sent to the realm of darkness, yeah, he can't use the dark corridor to get out because he's not Diz anymore. He doesn't, like, that darkness isn't there anymore for him to use.
Exactly. And also, what a badass to go to the realm of darkness twice and get yourself out twice.
Right.
What a G. Just so you all know, Aqua, as much as we all love her, would shiver at the thought of having to be there alone again.
To be fair, though, the second time that he got out wasn't him. It was like,
true.
Ansem saw it, showed up, and was like, "All right, you're gonna take me to the girl," and then he guided him out, right, with his hands but tied behind his back. But I mean, yeah, it's, gosh, I mean, I
just want to bring this up. I think you'd like this one a lot. Keyblade Master Jesse, who says, Ansem the Wise basically realized his research was spitting in the face of God and thought this might not be a good idea. Xehanort basically said, screw it, and kept going. And not only that, Xehanort said, I'm taking your name too. Like, I'm taking your name, your legacy, your apprentices. I'm taking all of it.
Yeah.
What a badass move by Xehanort, but also, like, how do you not understand why Ansem the Wise ended up the way he did? After all of that.
That's what I'm saying too. Like, how can you look at it? Because again, right, like, you know, he's done some pretty, like, questionable things, but, like, literally at the root of all of it, he had good intentions for all of it, you know? Like, and I'm not demeaning, like, experimenting on children, because, again, he actually didn't do that, for one thing. It was his apprentices, right? And so, like, that's why it's funny whenever, we were talking about this in the pre-roll, but whenever Ansem Seeker of Darkness in 3, whenever they're outside the mansion, he says, all those children sacrificed in the name of your well, first Ansem the Wise says, please, I've created enough victims. And then Ansem saw guilt trips him even more and says, all the children sacrificed in the name of your research. They were sacrificed in the name of his research, but it wasn't actually him personally that was at fault.
It wasn't the research itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was, him starting the research caused the apprentices to dive deeper into the darkness, and then in turn, it's, you know, that's what kind of caused all this chaos. So I guess to a degree, like, what, you know, him actually even just initiating it, there's some fault there, but I think it's just ironic that he says all the children sacrificed in the name of your research, as if he's like mocking him, because he was the one who took his name, right? And then he's kind of putting the shame on him,
dude, I never saw it like that.
You know?
Oh my God,
I
you're
mean,
right.
Ansem saw it, mocks him throughout, like, all their interactions together. Whenever he's like, "You are wise," you know, like, "You are wise." I'm like, dude, like, he's mocking him, calls him master, and the Ansem the Wise even acknowledges that. So now you mock me, you know?
Dude, no, honestly, you just kind of added a whole new layer to their interactions that I hadn't really picked up on before. That's interesting. Just a Waffle, cousin of Pancake, says, do you think it's possible that Ansem the Wise has a child of Kyrie, that Ansem is the king of Radiant Garden? And okay, no, I don't think... I think you're asking, is Ansem the Wise Kyrie's dad? And I'm going to go with no. But who knows? He could have offspring. He could, I just don't see it. More likely to be nominated.
He could have had a thing with her grandmother. We don't know. like we don't know. I would love to see. I don't know. Like, I always thought it would be cool to get. It doesn't even have to be a game. Just like a cutscene compilation.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like back cover of, like, you know, what did that actually look like with, like, Ansem experimenting on Xehanort and the apprentices, experimenting on these other subjects, and then like Lee and Isa breaking into the castle and meeting with Subject X, and like how is Luciu involved in all of this? I think it would be so sick to get like an hour-long, like back cover-esque compilation, like cutscene movie,
dude,
whatever.
I am all for more back cover content. Back cover is some of the best, it's some of the best 45-minute stretch of story the entire series has to offer. And like, I know a bunch of people are into the idea of Kingdom Hearts anime. I don't even want that. I want like every episode to almost be like a peek in on something that happened off screen. Like the dude here is like, we need to see these events in a Kingdom Hearts game, like all of Xehanort's research and all of that stuff.
Right.
Nah, like you're saying, give me a back cover of that. Just give me 30 minutes, like 30 minutes of just CGI cutscenes. Yeah, that's all
cover
it takes.
it would be really cool, even if like, gosh, it would be really cool if they actually covered like some of the stuff in the secret reports. So you can actually like see it in the flesh,
play out.
And we're not just reading it, because a lot of things can get misinterpreted just by reading about it. But whenever you actually see it played out,
whole different story.
It's a lot clearer.
A lot clearer. Anthony says it's weird how Apprentice Terranort seemed to want to save the world when sending Kairi to the outside world. What was the end goal of the experiments? Definitely part of it was about tracking like Sora and whoever was going to wield the Keyblade, because the Keyblade has been the key to a lot of their plans, whether it be, Ansem, Xehanort, Xemnas organization. The Keyblade is always a center focus. So to me, it was a big part of it was that. As for him wanting to save the world, we know that Xehanort wanted to save the world. He had very warped ideas about what that meant, but we know that in his heart of hearts, that's what he believed he was doing. That, he thought it would have to be, he'd have to rule by decree via darkness, but to him, that was the only way to save the world from all of this.
The Keyblade was essentially his Infinity Gauntlet.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. If you wanted to go that wise.
If you want to make that MCU comparison, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I don't know. What's your favorite Ansem the Wise moment, and why?
Oh my gosh.
I know I just put you on the spot, but
I gotta really think about that. I mean, I think like, I don't know. I think just, I don't know, moments. He just has some lines that are just so like clever. Like we were saying earlier, like Xehanort, a foolish apprentice of a foolish man. I just like, I love that line because it's like, it's just like he's just owning up to it, right? And so it's like, oh man, I think I really like, I would say probably my favorite scene / moment with him, probably Blank Points.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say probably, I'm like really thinking about it, because, that's kind of just, it's like whenever he's having this conversation with Aqua, it's like he's reminiscing, right? But it's not, at that point, he's not clouded with vengeance anymore. He's just kind of like reflecting. And so there's you could definitely, like, if you couldn't see the change in his character at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, which you could definitely see it if you're watching, but like you definitely see it there. He's talking about like, I was clouded by vengeance, and like so many lives that I've ruined, and it's not coming out of a place of revenge or hate. It's like coming out of a place of like, I want to make this right.
He wants to atone, man.
Yeah, no, so I'd say Blank Point's probably my favorite Ansem the Wise moment.
That, and he gives Aqua hope again.
Yes.
Which is something else, which shows you there's still like, and what that shows you in that moment is there's still a light in there. He might be trapped in the realm of darkness, but the light was coming back, as kind of what you're saying. He was speaking from a place of atonement and sorrow, as opposed to a place of vengeance. Atonement to the wise. Yeah.
Anthony brings up when he teases Roxas in the pod. Actually, that's a pretty great one.
No, Diz himself has something. I am a servant of the world, and that makes you a tool at best. Oh my God.
Was that supposed to be a joke? Because I'm not laughing. It's so mad. I love it. Yeah, that's a great scene. That's a great scene. That's pre-redemption. That is and that's still Diz territory, but hey, it's still the same character.
Well, speaking of pre-redemption, what would you do with this character now, post-redemption? Like, what is there to do? What story does Ansem the Wise have left to tell? What do you think?
Man, I think if you really want to, keep him in the story, I mean, why stop with, like creating all these vessels to aid the Guardians of Light in Kingdom Hearts 3, and like let's go a little bit further into, let's actually use the science and the things that we've learned to actually. I mean, I guess like in Melody of Memory, they're like what they're studying. They're like actually. Kyrie's asleep and they're actually doing research on that. So I think like, because they're trying to find Sora. So I think even just using maybe his previous knowledge of maybe things that he got wrong in his previous experiments, right? And in his, Kingdom Hearts 2 and prior, to kind of aid our heroes in finding Sora, maybe even solving the mystery of what is unreality, like what is it,
and what are the rules?
What are the rules, right? Because you're learning. If you're learning about the science of the heart in terms of Kingdom Hearts lingo, I guess like there's rules that the heart has to follow. So I don't like. I think just like using past mistakes and implementing them into research to actually help people instead of create a situation where more people might be victimized. Yeah.
Can I tell you what I think the best way to do that is?
Do it.
Nominate. Ansem the Wise, at his worst, treated Nominee like less than human, garbage, doesn't actually exist, like absolute trash. I think something that could
even to the point where he says, Riku, we have to dispose of Naminé. Like, literally dispose of her. And like it's crazy because like you can actually when you read these reports, that prejudice you can tell he has a prejudice towards nobodies in general.
Because that's who betrayed him. Like no
That's who betrayed him. Of course. Right. It makes sense. I think that's brilliant. I think that's the absolute best way to
imagine he took her under his wing, and now Naminé's wearing a lab coat, and she's learning how to help in the experiments and all that.
In a lab coat, please.
Let's go, baby.
I don't know if there's any fan art out there yet of that, but she needs to get out of that dress.
Get her out of the dress.
Too long. It's probably filthy. She needs something else, man.
But wouldn't this make sense? Because this is what Ansem the Wise was doing before he got betrayed. Basically, if a stray puppy showed up, he adopted it. Just like Apprentice Xehanort, who came through and was just there isolated in the town square. Look, Naminé came out of the product of Kyrie's heart. There's no parents. There's no sister. There's nowhere for Naminé to go home to. To me, it makes perfect sense that Ansem the Wise would take her in, show her the way, and like, I don't know, you could have a nice scene between the two where he actually apologizes. Actually says sorry. Like,
dude, I would love that, man. Because again, he treated her like
the worst. She got it worse than Roxas.
Which is funny.
At least he gave Roxas pretend friends.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, well, here's the thing too. Because do you think maybe because I feel like because Roxas is more a part of Sora than I guess Naminé is, but Naminé is still like a part of Sora. Right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if like I wonder if maybe even Ansem the Wise had even more, I guess, prejudice towards her because she was a special case of a nobody. Like
it could have been like another thing that messed up his research. Like just Naminé existing is like, well, this ruins my life's work, so she doesn't exist.
Well, because I mean, even in the secret reports in 2, he's actually trying to dissect who and what is Naminé. Like, who is she? And he's like, I have a hypothesis and of like and he breaks that down, and that's how we kind of get understand the origins of Naminé. But like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, like I wonder if I wonder if like, because she was such like a special case, right? That it just, I don't know. Like it was just, it's interesting. I agree with you. I think that would be perfect. Like if you're gonna have Ansem the Wise, written in the story in some way, shape, or form, where he's not just there as kind of just filler and he's not just like a presence, but like it actually means something. Yeah, let him take Naminé under his wing, and then that would give Naminé a little more screen time as well.
And give her a purpose outside of just using her memory powers. Like, imagine she became a whiz of magic and science.
Right.
She kind of crosses both those worlds. We got fun fact. Ansem the Wise built a little white room for Naminé when not interesting. I guess maybe that's the room in the mansion, I suppose. Let's be real.
The white room?
Yeah, the white room.
Right. But like, I mean, okay, like, yes, but I don't know. Like, do you really think like, did Naminé feel like at home there, or did she feel like a prisoner there? Because like, because Ansem the Wise was clearly just using Naminé.
Oh yeah.
Just to restore Sora, right? Because then he's like, yeah, well, you must dispose of her, like literally dispose of her. Pretty dark.
Yeah, like a tool you don't need anymore.
Oh yeah, Soul brings up a good point. Naminé can summon Lingering Will. Yes, her superpower summoning Lingering Billium. Yes, I love it. I guess that's true.
Yeah,
to an extent. Man, that's funny.
I just want to give a special shout out to my man Danny Ambrose, who just raided us with a party or two over on Twitch. Danny, dude, thank you, brother. Welcome to episode 111 of the podcast. All right. Here you are, 111. Very, very binary. Very binary, bro.
Very binary. Yes. The title of this podcast is going to be it's not even going to be Ansem the Wise or anything. It's just going to be the most binary podcast you've ever seen, ever. 111.
Ever, baby. But
I love it.
But he's always been, to me, this character that knows how to deliver the big moment. I think that's another thing that punctuates Ansem the Wise's character is he has, whether it's Christopher Lee, who voiced him in Kingdom Hearts 2, or who voices him now. Let me see if I can quickly grab that. Corey Burton, who I think is also Yen Sid, so that's actually pretty cool.
Corey Burton does all kinds of voices.
Okay, so he's one of those, a man of many voices. So even Corey Burton does a great job because, I'll never forget getting to the end of Dream Drop Distance. And, like, if you just listen to his speech, man, he basically just laid out Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, he just pretty much prophesized.
Are you talking about Ansem the Wise? Are you talking about Ansem the Wise to Riku?
Yes.
At the end, I know exactly what we were talking about.
He just prophesized all of Kingdom Hearts 3 there. Again, in a very beautiful manner. And I think that's something that makes this character a lot of fun, is that he can punctuate these big moments.
His elegance.
Yes.
Right? He's
the
so
voice, bro.
The voice, like, I mean, we could talk about like characteristics and whatever all day, but like his voice.
And honestly, we're in Kingdom Hearts where dialogue can be rather hit or miss. Whoever writes Ansem the Wise's dialogue is the man. Like, perhaps I wanted to atone for events of the past, even if no apology can undo the harm I have wrought. Like, just
man, that's awesome. Oh my gosh.
He's too good, man. He's too good, and they do a great job with him.
He doesn't deserve the hate that he has gotten, I don't think.
And I think I understand to an extent if you were to criticize this character and be like, "Hey, too much of it is happening off screen. Too much of it is happening in the secret reports." That's a legitimate criticism that I wouldn't hold against anybody.
Well, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So let's say in Kingdom Hearts 2, they actually kind of fleshed out a little bit more of his journey. Do you think that would have been something you would like to see, or do you think that would have actually taken away from like the focus on Sora and like kind of these other plot points?
I'm gonna give you the honest answer. The honest answer is sickos like you and I think it takes away, because sickos like you and I, we read the secret reports a million times on end. We talk about it at length with, friends and everybody else. Normies probably would have loved it. And again, normie is not, if you're new to the lodge, normie is not a derogatory term.
It is not.
In no way. Normie just means you consume this stuff more passively. Sicko means, again, you read the secret reports like 30 times. Because it can never be enough.
You are sick with Kingdom Hearts, and maybe at this point you might be sick of it.
Well, dude, I mean, I've said this before, but like, we've been really lucky. Like, first of all, we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of Kingdom Hearts 3. And when you think of everything we've gotten since then, so Kingdom Hearts 3, and then 6 months later, we get Remind. A year later, it's Remind. They announced it 6 months later. A year later, we get Remind. Then we get Melody of Memory. And then we get a Union Cross finale. And now we're getting Dark Road sometime this winter. I mean, I just listed 6 things, and it's been 3 years. Like, that's
true. Yeah, like
you don't realize it.
Yeah, like it's, I don't think we're ever gonna be in I would like to hope that we will never be in a state of limbo in between Kingdom Hearts titles, because like if the last 3 years were everything, like you said, we got like 6 different things happen. Right? And like we have Kingdom Hearts coming to the Switch eventually, whatever the heck that looks like, whether it's a cloud version.
Oh man, I was so pissed when I heard they were cloud versions. Yeah. Literally just because I want the jewel case. I want the jewel case.
Do it for the case.
Do it for the case, Square, please.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, oh gosh, dude, you really wanna I made a video about this.
Oh, let's go.
A while ago.
Let's go.
Talking about, and Lanny knows me, and he's gonna laugh at me, but I will defend the heck out of Kingdom Hearts Recoded every single day of my freaking life. Okay, I love it. Is it the weakest title in the franchise? Yeah, probably. But I think it's great. I think
Combat is severely underrated. I'm gonna give you that.
It's severely underrated. But here's what I'm saying. I made this video a while ago talking about, how can we make Recoded more relevant again? And it was kind of talking about like, what if we like actually get a hold of like the Book of Prophecies, hook this thing up to that machine in Disney's castle, and then dive into the data world in the Book of Prophecies so we can learn more about what happened in Union Cross and stuff like that. And then maybe you can like,
dude, that's genius.
Right. So maybe have Ansem the Wise play a role in that. Maybe and like have like Ventus, like send Ventus in there, because Union Cross was his thing, right? That's where he came from. Let's make a new trio of Ventus, Marluxia, and Larxene. I want to see it, dude. Like, why not? We might as well.
No, I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
And if you want to rope in Ansem the Wise that way, let's do it. Whatever. I think it'd be really cool because honestly, and being Ansem the Wise, if I'm still curious about maybe Origins of the Heart and Darkness, what better place to go than Union Cross whenever you have a literal entity of darkness, causing all these events to spiral out of control. I think that'd be really cool, man.
I think it's a great idea. And look, nothing, like, how do I put this? Nothing in Kingdom Hearts happens for no reason, right? And we've seen devices and methods appear in one game and then not reappear for another 10, 15 years. So I think it is very possible.
The Ark.
The Ark.
Or as one example. Right.
The perfect example. I think it's very possible that if the Guardians can get their hands onto a Book of Prophecies, that reusing that tech, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
With Mickey going to Scala, I don't know, maybe just like Pete dug up Pandora's box in Olympus, who's to say Mickey can't just shovel? But that would be kind of a goofy and lame way of doing it. Well, like, I'm just saying, right? Like, Mickey's going to Scala to, find some answers. Why not maybe in some way, shape, or form incorporate it?
I wanted to bring an idea up to you. There's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and actually, you kind of just brought it up when you talked about Ventus, Marluxia, and Larxene. Do you think we're going to have a realignment of trios? Because I think there's going to be some. Because think about it, when we get Skuld back, now you've suddenly got Axel, Isa, and Skuld as the trio.
Right.
I wonder if there's a realignment coming. Because now you have Kairi, who's going to be there with Aqua, right? And, you know, maybe now it's Terra, Aqua, and Kyrie in the next game.
Yeah.
Maybe like that's what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, like I think, you know, whenever Namor says, "Hey, I'm changing up the formula," I think
that could mean anything.
It could literally mean anything. Like it could be gameplay. It could be
the worlds.
Worlds. It could be we're changing up the trios.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, hey, people are actually going to die.
Yep.
That's a real. That's a thought.
Although I don't know. I'm not a fan of permanent death in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
I think it logically doesn't make sense within the context of its own world. I don't think permanent death really makes sense. Unless
we're in a place like Quadratum where we don't know what the rules of Quadratum.
Maybe when you die in fiction, you die forever. Yeah.
Right. In Quadratum, in unreality, when you die, you die. The rules could be different.
The rules could be different.
Yeah. And so, but like,
whoa! Maybe that's why they had to save Sora. Because if they let him run around uncrystallized, he can get killed off. But if they crystallize him, he's able to stay alive. He's able to continue existing because he's crystallized. He's an LC. You know, who knows? Yeah, maybe if you...
Okay, I'll be honest. I don't know if I'm a fan of them bringing Fabula Nova Crystalla stuff into it. I haven't really thought too much into it. But like, I thought that was funny.
I'm fine if that stays in the world of fiction. If the whole Fabula Nova Crystallis and maybe that's why they're doing it, because you can't really just introduce that into the Kingdom Hearts world now. It doesn't make sense with the lore. But that would be that would be interesting, dude. If dying in Quadratum means
you're dead. Well, because again, going back to like the changing of the formula thing. Yeah. Maybe we'll get some more different trios. I think that would be so sick. I would love to see like
realignment
or like even just like switching up trios a little bit, right? Like even like, oh my gosh, like I'm trying to think like Roxas interacting with like Aqua or Terra or something. I don't know, like whatever.
Well, I think Roxas and Shion would stick it out, but like imagine, let's see who's vacant among the trios right now that you could throw in with those two boneheads.
I mean, you could throw Kyrie because if Riku is in Quadratum doing his finding Sora and Kyrie's training, why don't you just have her interact with a bunch of these characters? I think that'd be really cool.
At this point, you might as well. Like, I mean, I feel like that's what we want to see in the future of the series, right? Is to see all these characters now that they're all alive on one plane of existence. We want to see them all interact. Don't get me wrong. Seeing them play Frisbee on Destiny Islands was fun. But I want to see Kyrie and Aqua on a walk and Kyrie ask her about the Realm of Darkness or something.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Like actual meaningful conversations, right. You know, like again, like I love the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. I think it's my personal favorite ending in the series. But like, man, let's expand on, you know, just playing Frisbee and all this stuff. Let's get some real, genuine, meaningful interactions. I would love that. I know we deviated from Ansem the Wise a little bit, but hey, this is
okay. We could. It's the title topic. We could deviate a little bit, but I guess maybe
a little bit
because I did want to talk about the future of the series with you a little bit and kind of shoot it on that. But I guess how about? Do you have any final thoughts about Ansem the Wise? If anyone in the chat has any final questions about Ansem the Wise, now's a good time to get them in.
I'm gonna skim chat as I'm kind of thinking here.
I'm pretty sure we got all the Ansem questions for you. Yo, Steph is in the chat. What up, Steph?
My dude.
Steph is here.
Dude. Oh man, I don't know. I think everything I have to say, I think I kind of like wanted to say. I think Ansem the Wise deserves a little more credit. I think he's again, like I said, if we were to make a tier list right now, he'd be a borderline A for me. He'd be an A-tier character for me, honestly.
Me too. I would put him
like everything about him, but you can't ignore the fact that, honestly, I think he's a great character. Like, you know, I mean, you can have an opinion like, oh, I don't think, you know, but like, he has an origin kind of, you know, he has a fall and he has a redemption. And even if that's not demonstrated much, or really, you know, barely at all on screen, you know, we read about it in the reports. and it's still something that I don't know. I think it's cool. You know, it's like it's like you're reading a book, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think oh man, I mean, we brought this up earlier, but I think again like a back cover-esque cutscene movie of like seeing those events kind of go down. I think that'd be really cool, man.
I think so too.
Really cool, especially now that we've got Dark Road finishing up, and then you know, now that like I don't know when they're gonna actually rope in Subject X back into the narrative, but like, you know, if they do that, and then after they do that, do something like kind of like the back cover-esque thing that we were talking about, I think that'd be great. You know,
I think so too. I mean, I agree with your entire sentiment. I would have Ansem the Wise. If I was to do a tier list, he probably hits A tier for me. He knows how to punctuate the big moments. I love seeing a good man such as a philosopher king, lose his way and fall into the darkness only to fight his way back out and find his moral compass again. And again, in Kingdom Hearts, where it's a story of redemptions, he totally fits the bill. Let's get through some of these chats. JK says, just wanted to drop a lurk and say Ansem the Wise is a war criminal. And yeah, when you consider what he does to Naminé and Roxas and everybody, yeah, I would say so. Blank points is good mode, though. Yes,
you can make that case about a couple of characters that mess up.
Yeah,
in narratives. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got one here from Just a Waffle, Cousin of Pancake. What happens to Aqua's armor down in the Deep Chamber Awakening? When in Remind, Aqua got her armor back. Did she interact with Ansem the Wise for seeing how it was safe? I think my honest answer to that, dude, is I think that plot point was completely abandoned. I mean, who knows? You know, we could just get a cutscene and see it, but I think the whole Aqua's it was completely abandoned. And you can't convince me otherwise.
Like, does she just like summon it back whenever she's like back in the realm of
probably
light?
Just like you could summon a Keyblade, you could probably like just warp the armor on.
How does that work? I don't know. That's a good question.
Soul says Ansem knew about Kairi being a Princess of Heart in Kingdom Hearts 1. Apprentice Xehanort, who became Ansem, definitely knew. We know that. As for whether Ansem the Wise knew, I don't think so. I
think he definitely knew because whenever you're reading the reports in 2, he definitely knows that. I can't remember if he actually acknowledges like she's a Princess of Heart, but whenever he's talking about how Naminé was created and kind of breaking down like the logistics of like what the heck that looked like.
Yeah.
He says like, you know, when Kairi lost her heart, because she was pure light, there was no heartless that was formed. And then, you know, her heart found a vessel in Sora. And so he's breaking that stuff down. I can't remember if he actually says like, yeah, she's a Princess of Heart, but he does acknowledge that she is, that she has no darkness in her heart, at least in the reports.
Gotcha. So there's your answer on that. Will Hat says, when does winter technically end? And I think that's a Dark Road question. Listen, if Square Enix says you're going to get it in the winter, you can expect it in March.
Yeah. Like, I mean, winter, at least, I mean, dude, where I'm at, I mean, winter could go as far as middle to end of April.
Winter doesn't exist for me anymore, so I'm chilling. Yeah,
I'm jealous.
I'm in perpetual springtime now.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, like, you know, December is not the end of winter. I would argue it's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
So, I mean, in terms of Dark Road stuff, I'm hoping that we get something, whether it's at the end of this month or not. We're gonna get it eventually. You know, I'm in no rush for Dark Road stuff. I like to like kind of joke around and be like, "Is Dark Road still a thing?" And then like, actually, people, because I actually said that on Twitter, that one person got like super offended. It was like,
"Oh God,
just be patient." And I'm like, just mess around. Okay, hang on, wait.
Listen, we waited a long time for Kingdom Hearts 3. We know patience, okay?
Oh, yes.
We know patience.
I'm, you know, Dark Road can take its good old freaking time. I'm chilling.
Yeah, I'm in no rush for Dark Road stuff. I'm excited because I really do love Xehanort as a character, so getting to learn anything more about him really tickles my fancy. So I think Dark Road is actually going to have, because they're going to drop the whole thing at once, right? Like, because the game essentially flopped, so they're not going to, thank God, they're not going to drag it out over 3 years.
There's no point in dragging it out.
Yeah, no, so they're just basically going to drop a little movie so we can get the scoop. which I think will be awesome because I do believe that we have not seen the last of Xehanort. I think young Xehanort with his gray eyes ends up being a player in all of this. I really do.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see more. Yeah, that's going to be real interesting, like seeing where the heck that is going to go. Like, because I honestly, like, don't really think I have, like, any theories that I can think of besides, like, maybe, like, because they already made the connection with Union Cross, you know, with Xehanort and the player and just, like, darkness and everything.
They clearly are cooking something up with him.
Right. So I'm wondering, like, what does that, you know, his transition from, maybe I'm thinking too much into it, his transition from, like, gray eyes and the yellow eyes, like,
I need to see it.
Is it just, it's probably, honestly, it's probably as simple, it's probably just darkness.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, it is, but is it like just darkness in general, or is it like, are we talking about, like, the being, right? You know, because
I think it's the being, because I actually think the Master of Masters laid a trap for him. Remember when he says to him, it's like, oh, you'll ditch that coat soon because you'll be so powerful the darkness can't control you. And I think that was a trap. I think he was letting Xehanort build himself up so that once he took that coat off, you know,
because that is crazy because in that cutscene he does have his gray eyes.
Yeah.
But then he does, whenever we do see young Xehanort later. I mean, we see him in Dream Drop with the coat on with his yellow eyes. Yeah. I'm wondering if Xehanort was like, dang, I shouldn't have taken this coat off and just put it back on. Or something. Like, man, Master Masters, what an idiot. Dude, not even knowing he was trolling him the whole time. Gosh, man.
Got him good.
I've been thinking it completely off book and off topic, but like, I don't know if anyone's made like a video about this yet. Or I'm sure somebody has. I haven't really been watching Kingdom Hearts theory vids in a minute, but literally, like, I was thinking about like the box, and I know like everybody and their mother have made probably some kind of theory about what's in the box. Do you think, and I don't know if anyone's ever brought this up, do you think that the Master of Masters maybe found a way to trap the 7 deadly darknesses in the box?
And do you think that's where the player is? Remember the player trapped the darkness? Right. Yeah. Dude,
it was something I was thinking about like for a couple of months now. I was like, I don't have a lot of evidence to support this. It's just a thought. Like, just a thought. I'm not making a grand theory and saying like, yes, I'm right or anything. That was just a thought I had. Like, you know, I thought it'd be interesting. Like, wow, maybe he found a way to trap them in the box. That's why he says to Lucio, you can never, ever open it. You can't open it because
it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down.
So, and with the whole, like, I think isn't there like 20 like, not keys, but like little inscriptions or whatever on the box, and it's like the 7 of light, 13 of darkness. I know people were theorizing about that and stuff. I don't know. We're there. We might as well talk about it. Like, I'm just curious. Like,
dude, I could talk about the box all day because it could be anything. It could even be a box. Like,
I really hope there's nothing inside. I hope it's the biggest troll of all time. I hope it's the biggest troll because all those theories.
I kind of love it.
Yes, all those but what's funny is like, it would be in the Master's character to do something like that.
It's just a red herring. The whole box could just be a red herring.
I'm all for the chaos, dude. I love it. I let it ensue. You know.
So
somebody said Quadratum is in the box.
Yeah, no, it could be. No, what I've been thinking is that opening that box sort of breaks the barrier between fiction and nonfiction. Like, I can't shake the feeling that opening the box is some kind of trigger event, right? Because that's what you brought up. The Master was like, you can never open it, Lucio, because when you open it, there's no going back, right? Could it be just unleashing those darknesses? Or is it going to bridge fiction and nonfiction together and create a complete mess and mess up the world order that suddenly is a big deal?
It could be just like whenever he said, "There's a traitor among the foretellers," and then there wasn't one, but then there kind of was because Lucio kind of
Oh, Luciu's the traitor. Everything about Luciu is going to be being a traitor. I believe that wholeheartedly. I think everything about this character will be he's going to betray the Master. I think the Master's playing for it.
You made a video about that, actually.
Yeah, I think the Master sees it coming and it's part of his plan. But I think he betrays the Master. I think everything having to do with that character is going to be betrayal. He is the one who bears the sigil. I wanted to get to
it's in his nature.
It's in his nature. I wanted to get to Jake's question here. It says, do you think Master Xehanort should have been the most universally despised character in the series if he wasn't a misguided good guy? So I think he actually, despite being misguided, and I don't like that whole misguided good guy thing, because a misguided good guy looks like Ansem the Wise. You know, like that's a misguided good guy. Master Xehanort, he's misguided, but he's done enough malevolent acts that he's no longer a misguided good guy. He's literally just a misguided villain. In his head, he sees himself as the hero, but that's what it means to be an egotistical narcissist, which he is. So, I think he is the most despised. Like, the Guardians don't like him. He's a symbol of fear for Kairi. You see Sora get confrontational with him in Remind. It's not like he had his speech and everyone's like, oh, I guess Xehanort's not so bad. It's very clear in the minds of Sora and Kairi, he's still this symbol, this antagonistic symbol of fear. But that's enough of my ramblings here. Ugh.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm thinking Kairi is a hidden princess, hidden an Aqua Protection spell helped her. The Aqua Protection spell's definitely what binded her to Sora. I feel like that's what's so funny is everyone trying to interfere with Kairi, all it did was drive her closer to Sora. Right? Remember with Apprentice Xehanort, you know? Whether it's Apprentice Xehanort or Aqua, it's almost...
Yeah, Apprentice Xehanort, I mean, even, I'm sorry, I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying. Apprentice Xehanort in Melody of Memory, right? In the arc, you know, like, if your heart resonates with a key, like, another Keyblade wielders, right? It's like, but it's funny, because, like, at the time, like, Sora was 4, he didn't have a Keyblade. I want, like, that whole thing is like, that whole thing with I'm still shook by the fact that Xehanort knew about Unreality this whole time.
Yep.
You know, like, he knew about it this whole time and, like, didn't even say anything. That is scary to me.
The only time he showed his hand was when he spoke to Kairi about that. If you end up in a world that's neither light or dark, then we have failed. Now listen, this dude plans for every eventuality, which includes this failure. Excuse me. Which includes this failure about the world of fiction. I think Xehanort young Xehanort specifically, makes a comeback in the world of fiction because, like you said, Andy, he knew about this. And there's no way this guy who planned for literally everything, like, didn't have some kind of plan about the world of fiction. So I see it happening to some degree. I don't know. It's clear Nomura loves this character because he's getting a lot of love and attention.
And I'm wondering if I don't know if we talked about this before or what, but I'm wondering if he like found out, like the way he found out was because he sent somebody over to the other side. And like, because how else are you going to discover unreality, right? How else, unless you've either been there or like maybe you've sent someone else there. And I don't know. That was always so interesting to me.
Could be the master again. Could be the master.
Yeah, could be the master because I mean, we don't actually. I mean, we only have that one conversation with young Xehanort and the master and Remind.
But it's implied that wasn't their first conversation. You know what I mean? This is clearly them meeting up again.
Right. How was it? How was the world tour, right? You don't just say that to somebody you just met.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
They had a rapport. They'd worked together back and forth.
Young Xehanort wasn't like, who are you? Like, so, yeah, that is actually really interesting.
Is Kairi Sora's Chirithy? Because of her coat, is Aqua going to protect Kairi from the darkness? I like the whole Dream Eater thing. Like, isn't that kind of... Oh, wait, no. Riku has the Dream Eater sigil. She kind of has the, like, Chirithy ears. I don't think Kairi is Sora's Chirithy. I think for a number of reasons that makes things a little weird. But, yeah, good question. Ryan Bree!
Oh, my man! That's my boy.
The homie.
My boy's in the chat. Dude, what's up, man?
Are y'all fans of the Sleeping Realm Theory document? Okay, admittedly, after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and this is what I mean, some people are sickos, some people are normies. I'm a sicko. I read that whole thing cover to cover. And when it came out, I believed it. But I feel like it's been all but deconfirmed based on Remind and Melody Memory. I don't know about you, Andy.
I haven't read the whole thing because it is very lengthy.
It's like 300 pages.
Yes, and so I was like, kind of at that point where I was like, I'm good with like Kingdom Hearts stuff for now. I don't need to read another 300 pages of a theory at the moment.
Yeah, we got those secret reports to read.
Right, I got those secret reports to dissect, man. But what I have read, it's very interesting. I would like to read more of it. I definitely would like to read more of it. Yeah,
it's very well written and very well thought out.
Yep, 300 pages, Square Pair.
Yep.
300 pages.
I hope the box at the Master of Masters will laugh at us for opening up when there's nothing inside. Yeah, that would, like Andy said, it's a textbook Master of Masters move right there.
Oh my gosh. Man,
we see darkness is outside the box after it's been given to Lucio. That's a good point.
I just think it would be funny. You know?
Yeah.
I just think it would be funny if there was just nothing in there. Because it wouldn't surprise me. And I feel like this is what I love. Because I love chaos, man. I feel like the whole community would be in shambles. I'm just going to say it. And it would be hilarious. It would be hilarious. As somebody who just kind of sits back and just, I feel like act like a Lucio sometimes, just watches the kind of all the debates unfold on Twitter or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, this would actually be kind of funny. Not going to lie. But at the cost of a lot of people's sanity. So.
Oh yeah, and sometimes I again, so much could be in that box. Random thought. I always wondered if there's like a seventh missing foreteller in that box or something, or if there's
well, I mean, I guess the master would be the seventh of them.
But I don't know. I don't know. I sometimes anything could be there. Could be somebody's heart. You know, I've always played with the idea of like, was there something in the box that helped the foreteller's revival, like Lucio having his hands on it?
Yeah, I always thought that the theory that I had was like, what if it's like something, I don't know. Well, actually, no. The box does nothing to do. I'm thinking of a whole different theory. Never mind. But a theory that I've seen that people have said was like, what if it is like the reason why that the foretellers were able to come back was because that maybe like their hearts or something, or like something is in the box, and then I don't know. You know, the box is a mystery, and I'm okay with it being a mystery. You know? Me
too, and I really do hope they hold that card close to the chest as long as they can.
No pun intended.
Soul asks, who finds Sora first, Riku or Kairi?
Riku finds him first and gets bodied by Yuzuru. That's my theory.
I would love it. We need Riku needs to get bodied. Riku needs to get bodied.
I would love it.
Cause look, he had a very complete arc in the Darkseeker saga. Yeah. He's a Keyblade master. Riku's great, right? But so we need challenges. We need something to push him back down. Yeah. He shouldn't relapse and fall to darkness again. I'm not for that. But I like this. I'm
not for that either, yeah.
I'm all for him getting humbled. I'm all for him feeling insecure and incomplete and incompetent. I'm all for it. And I like the idea of Riku getting into trouble, because then that gives Kairi incentive to train faster or train better, or it gives her a reason to go to Quadratum. Like, I firmly believe she's going to be a big help in Quadratum, and that whatever Riku's aiming to do, he's not going to be able to do it until Kairi shows up.
Does that mean Kairi bodies Zora to save them both? Heck no, man. She can't take you,
Zora.
No. I don't care how much training she's gonna have. No,
but do you know who might? Aqua and Kairi.
That is a possibility, 2-on-1.
We got a Canadian doubles on that. They can make it work.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. Or maybe Donald and Goofy, throw them into the mix. Let's see Kairi, Donald, and Goofy. Kairi, Donald, that'd actually be a weird trio. You know what? I don't want it anymore.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm just saying whatever the heck now, because we're done with our Ansem the Wise talk. We're unhinged at this
Oh, we're
point.
unhinged. Yeah, no, that's
We're
it.
unhinging.
The box
That's
is
how it
open.
goes.
The box
The
has
box
been
is
open.
open.
I think.
Oh no.
I think Kairi will find Sora first, while Riku finds Uzora and gets crystallized. And that's another funny thing is, there's clearly two Quadratums. There's, the legitimate one, and then there's the one that was in Uzora's dreams where he was able to interface with Sora, where, like, nobody's driving the cars and no one's in there, right? Like, there's the Quadratum that, like, Sora was trapped into where he could interface with Uzora's dreams, and then there's the Quadratum that Yuzora wakes up in, and, like, people are driving the cars and life is moving on outside. So it would be interesting if Riku actually went to, like, the Quadratum Sora wasn't in, and it almost becomes this, like,
that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be insane. Oh man, it's like all for nothing. Like or like maybe not all for nothing. You're still looking around. You're still looking for him, but.
Question: is it possible that Kairi's hoodie is Ava because of her animal fox-looking ears?
Yes, her hoodie itself is Ava incarnate. 100%.
There you go.
You sold me. You sold me.
How do you feel about, like, some of these theories about, like, the foretellers playing into some of the Guardians, like Ava being Aqua's grandmother, or not Aqua's grandmother, Kairi's grandmother, and stuff like that?
I mean, see, here's the thing, because I made a video a long time ago talking about not Kairi, or not Ava being Kairi's, like, grandmother or anything, because that's been kind of like a more common theory, but more so like Ava. What if Ava is a version of Kairi, or vice versa? And the reason why, at the moment, why Ava couldn't actually come back in the epilogue was because Kairi was actually dead at that point. So there was no version of her to actually travel back to. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, what if she's a version? It's a theory. I don't know how much I agree with it. I don't even know how much I agree with it today, honestly. Like, I would say 90% of the theories that I make, I probably don't even fully agree with myself. They're just thoughts. And I'm like, you know what? It's Kingdom Hearts.
It's about plausibility and kind of exploring that plausibility.
Yeah, and so, like, man, I mean, I don't think I really do not think, like you said, nothing in Kingdom Hearts is a coincidence. I really do not think, whether it's reincarnation or whether it's just ancestral or whatever, I don't think it'd be ancestral, but, like, whatever it is, I don't really think it's a coincidence that, like, the foretellers resemble a lot of the characters that we know. Arsed very much resembling Terra in some ways. Ava resembling Kairi, right? Sheesh. I mean, even maybe Ira resembling Riku, even just, like, the colors of, like, their robes and stuff. I don't think really all that's a coincidence, but at the same time, I don't know if I could say that, like, they're directly connected. Maybe it's just like an analogy, right? Or just like a parallel, But again, with Kingdom Hearts, nothing is a coincidence,
Nothing.
So I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm down for. I mean, we have to see Ava come back at some point.
You know what? My theory I don't know how to think about this because I can't connect the dots. But when I first beat Kingdom Hearts 3, I started wondering, is Ava's heart in the box? Because wouldn't that be really eerie that all the foretellers were actually reunited in that scene?
True.
But that maybe Ava's trapped there. Because it is peculiar that she doesn't come back. Because again, and, I'm wondering, because I don't understand necessarily the chronology. Like, that scene with the foretellers in the revival, does that happen just after Kingdom Hearts 3? Or does that happen somewhere along the 1 year between 3 and Melody of Memory?
What if Ava was, like, the true dandelion or something? This is a theory, right? She's the true dandelion, and then whenever she was sent through the pod, she was accidentally sent to, like, Quadratum.
Yes. That to me sounds feasible. That to me sounds feasible because we never, again.
Lucy says, I guess she didn't make it. I mean, that could mean anything. I don't know what that could mean. A couple of things.
Well,
I don't know.
He further goes. She had her own mission and she carried it out.
Right.
Maybe she's keeping the light alive in Quadratum somewhere. Who knows? Xehanort also knew the pods that were previously used for time travel, had a chance of accidentally going to the realm of fiction, implying there's a connection between time travel and fiction. Interesting. Okay. Yeah,
read that one more time.
Gotcha.
I couldn't see it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm like way back here. We got some catching up to do. But Xehanort also knew the pods that were previously used for time travel had a chance of accidentally going to the realm of fiction, implying there's a connection between time travel and fiction. So I guess.
I mean, yeah, he had, because again, he knows about it, so he either like sent someone there or he went there himself. You know?
Yeah. There's some way he gained knowledge of it, and again, I'm trying to unwrap what that could imply if time travel and fiction are connected that way. Does that mean that the world of fiction was created by a time travel event? Like, did Sora inadvertently create the world of fiction when he broke the nature taboo? Because the laws of nature's kind of broke, and but then for that to work, time would have to be a flat circle. But I guess for time travel to exist, go ahead.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because I don't think that would be the case, just because again, Xehanort already knew about it, as an apprentice. So I don't think Sora breaking the laws of taboo has anything to do with that. Logically, that wouldn't make sense. I say logically it wouldn't make sense as we're talking about breaking the laws of taboo. It's just funny how Kingdom Hearts works like that, right? I don't know. It's hilarious. I don't know. I kind of hope they expand upon that, because
I do too.
We how did you know? Let's just I don't know, man, dude. It's such. There's so many. I make this argument all the time. I would argue that Kingdom Hearts right now is the most interesting it's ever been.
Without question. Without a question.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the dude asks, how would we feel if they never showed the Master of Masters' true face?
I'm all for the troll, man. Do it. Don't do it. They're going to, and whether it's whoever you might theorize it is, or if it's just a random person. I don't know. I kind of hope he's his own person.
I want someone new.
Yeah.
But I also would kind of love, this isn't the same as him never taking it off, but what if he was just faceless?
I mean, your theory about the Master of Masters being light, and sheesh, I don't know.
Who knows?
Kind of cool. Or he just takes it off and it's just I don't know. It's Anubis or something. Some kind of weird form.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
We're getting to some of that stuff.
Some Egypt. We'll do some ancient Egypt. Get some Thoth. He's Thoth. He's got. Oh God.
Man, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever made that theory yet. The Master of Masters is Anubis. He's just got the Anubis head. Man, that's wild. Never would have thought of that. That's definitely not it. But
it's fun to think about.
Yeah.
Ava as the nameless star. No. It's
Yeah, that's pretty. That was. We already, Melody.
Appreciate the input, but
right.
Melody and Memory all but confirmed.
Remind. Yeah. Actually, no. Yeah, Limit Cut. Actually, the secret episode confirmed that it was Zora's girl.
Squarepress says, "Did you know Ava means grandmother?" I know that Ava was short for Avaricia, which is greed in Latin. But is there a word Ava that means grandmother? I'm gonna try and fact check that real quick.
Fact check it. I'm gonna try to figure out where the heck you are in the chat, because I have no idea.
Oh, I'm up, baby. I'm up.
We're up, baby.
I don't know if we'll be able to get to every single one, because I feel like they're just gonna keep coming in, and we're gonna be like a hamster on a wheel.
A hamster on a wheel. Do you think the Master Masters is alternate Sora, Demix, Sora's dad, Namora, Light, Photo, Sora, Mom? Okay, here's my thing, right? He's not Demix, and I absolutely hate that. I hate that theory that people think he is, because it doesn't make any sense for him to be Demix. Because the only thing that
I've never liked that theory. I've never liked that theory.
A lot of the thing people say about that is oh, they have similar personalities. Zigbar and Lucio have completely opposite personalities. And what I mean by that is the Lucio in back cover is a very different.
That Lushu's gone, bro. That Lushu's gone. He's been through too much.
Like body hopping.
No, I think what you're seeing is a man who has lost everyone he's loved multiple times, has no actual sense of identity because he's different people to different times and eras.
Which is why, and I know a lot of people are not a fan of this theory.
Oh, here we go.
I'm actually kind of for it. It could be Sora from the timeline where they lose the Keyblade War. Sora's
I like it.
In that reality, he has lost everybody, you know? So
but didn't he perish too, technically?
Did he? Did he?
We didn't, I guess technically, we don't know.
You know, so it's just a lot of people don't like that theory. I'm open to it. I like it. I feel like if the Master of Masters were to be anybody that we know, I think personally, this is my personal opinion, I think Sora might make the most sense. However, I really do hope he is just his own person. I'm
with you. If it's a character we already know, it can't. To me, it doesn't make much sense to make it anyone other than Sora. But I do believe and also prefer. So could be some bias.
Ironic too if it was Sora with him not being a Keyblade master ever.
Yeah,
doing so much, and he's so it's just like
there are things about it. There are things about it that work.
Right.
But to me, it's too obvious.
Maybe
like, only reason I say it's too obvious is because, like, the first time I saw back cover and the first time I saw Master of Masters, that was my first thought. Was, oh, this must be Sora from the future. So personally, I'd hate it because then I called it before I even understood half the plot.
I always love looking back and just seeing maybe I'll never disappear. I don't know if I'm gonna disappear or not. Look, it's anyone's guess right now. What happened at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3?
The homie did vanish.
You know, so it could work. But again, let them. I'm cool with.
Look, it's all about the delivery. It's all about the delivery at the end of the day.
I agree. Yep.
If they deliver it in a certain way, I could see myself loving it.
In a certain way where Goofy is the Master of Masters and it somehow hits me on an emotional level where I'm probably going to be scarred for life. But if it at least hits me, I'm for it.
Yeah. No, it could work. It could work. It could work. I've got if.
So I like the theory that Demyx is like the Prompto of Yzora's crew, and I think our boy Sonny Novus touched on that quite a bit.
That one, here's the thing. I like
that theory.
I like that theory a lot, but I have to wonder why he wasn't in the party in the Verum Rex commercial.
They didn't want to show. I don't know.
But are they going to do parties of 5? Because like that would be my question. Is it going to be a party of 5?
Maybe that's how Xehanort found out about Unreality. I mean,
through Demyx, that'd be cool.
Through Demyx and Luxord. I mean, how he got there, I don't know. You know, so like, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, there's still they all will be revealed. Gummy Phone asks, "What if Ava needed a new body, and that's why Lushu took Skuld?" Even if that were the case, they can make vessels now. Both sides kind of really had the knowledge for that one. And if that were the case, then when they had that vacant vessel that like Demyx was shopping around, Lushu would have just jacked that vessel and used that instead. But that's a good question. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure we get to all these before we wrap it up. I like this. Brady says, I don't know what he's referring to, but I'd rather there never be an answer than an unsatisfying answer. And yes.
I 100% agree. I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Like I don't know, man, getting an answer to something in a narrative that just doesn't sit right is like, it ultimately kind of changes how I feel about like certain like games or movies or whatever. You know, like if I don't like the ending of like a game, I'm never gonna play that game again.
Yeah, and I won't think about it. I won't end up thinking about it much. Here's an interesting point. I'm glad this person's asking this question because I want to get into this a little bit. Jessica James says, "What if the original timeline where the Guardians died is still intact, and Quadratum is the world Xehanort wanted to create, existing alongside the alternate timeline Sora created with the nature taboo?" Here's just a personal opinion I have with Kingdom Hearts. I actually think that's a pretty cool idea. I could see it working, but here's just a personal Kingdom Hearts opinion I have. You know what I love about Kingdom Hearts? For all the bullshit where people say it's confusing and convoluted, it's one timeline. One time. And I think it should stay that way. I really think it should stay that way. Because it's funny. I've spoken to some friends, and like they're like, oh, this game, I'm not going to say what they were talking about because I don't want to start a whole other discourse. Like, oh, now this game is going to do a bunch of alternate timelines? What is this, Kingdom Hearts? And I took a lot of joy in being like, Kingdom Hearts is one timeline. There's one timeline in Kingdom Hearts. And they're just like, what? And, wouldn't you know it, that person's never played the games. They just kind of took Twitter discourse and ran with it.
We have prequels and prequels to this prequels, but it's all still one time.
It's all one chronology, and there's something about that I really like. I feel like the Book of Prophecies doesn't matter if there's a bunch of alternate timelines and universes, because then it's like, oh, this is just one book and one prophecy. It's not the Book of Prophecies.
Right. Yeah.
See, we got a Final Fantasy X joke in here. Okay.
Wouldn't get it. Haven't played FF10 yet.
Going to. Dude, you have to. I haven't played it since I was a kid. You put up a post that you're going to be replaying it. I'm going to be replaying it this year too, so maybe we could do an FF10 episode one of these days.
Oh, I've never played FF10. I'll be playing it for my first time.
Dude, it is legitimately a top tier Final Fantasy.
That's what everyone's saying.
Top tier. Like, and like it's, dude, it's just so good. And it's written as a mythology. Like, all the Final Fantasies are kind of written that way, but 10 really goes for it.
Okay. All right.
And it's very character driven too, which always makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think all Final Fantasy, at least all the ones that I've played. I haven't played all of them, but the ones that I've played have been kind of like that, which is sweet. For real?
For real?
Persona 5 a lot recently. I'm saying for real? A lot more, and in a very specific voice than I ever would have in my entire life.
Ryuji is the man. Okay. We are going to be wrapping this up soon, everybody, so I will ask that we halt some questions. I've got this one from Just a Waffle. One last question. Will Sora's mom come to dinner for eating it? When I really should read them before I read them, but I'm going to finish this for good humor. For eating it when all...
To dinner?
And all the trouble for waiting for dinner. Okay, here, let's take that to the next level here. I think this will be a good way to kind of end this podcast a little bit.
Does she prepare a dinner every single night and hoping that Sora's going to come back one day? And, are we setting up a villain origin story here?
Well, now this is what I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Do you think parents ever come back into play? Because, you had Sora's mom mentioned in Kingdom Hearts 1, and I understand if maybe that was a one-off thing, but in Birth by Sleep, they talk about Riku's dad, And then when you look at Kingdom Hearts 2, Kairi clearly has a normal life where she goes to school and has homework
and they even bring
and
up,
all of that.
Mayor,
yeah.
Mayor in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the girls that talk about Kairi, young Sora and Riku, at the mayor's house, right? Honestly, I don't think parents don't need to come back into play. I don't think there's no need for them to, I don't know. Because if you ask me,
I mean, listen, I look, I'm not saying I wouldn't like it, but I do understand we can only give contrary to popular belief, Square is made of finite resources and they can't be dishing out cutscenes cost millions of dollars, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'd rather those millions of dollars get advocated towards Roxas and Shion than roping Riku's dad back in.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm
with you on that one.
But it appears as though we have reached the end of the questions. Guys, I'm sorry if any questions slip through the cracks. We do our best here. But I do appreciate everybody asking their questions, taking part in this discussion. This was a good time. Andy, before I wrap us up here, do you have any final thoughts about Ansem the Wise, the future of Kingdom Hearts? Just anything to sign us off here.
I'm excited, man. I have nothing else to say. I know the 20th anniversary is coming up March, which is crazy.
Crazy to think about.
Yep, there's the KH20 event that's happening in Dallas.
Yes.
That's like pretty crazy.
Austin. I thought it was Austin.
Austin, it's somewhere in Texas. I have a ticket. I gotta read what it says, But yeah, there's a lot of things happening. I'm very excited. I mean, we'll know more, I guess, in March, whatever that looks like. Whether we get, I'm hoping Dark Red stuff will be out before that, but whether it's like a new game announcement or whatever. Dude, I'm excited, man. Kingdom Hearts is at its most interesting it's ever been. I think these characters, where these characters go, whether it be Ansem the Wise, Naminé, Ventus, whatever. I think I'm really hoping that we get kind of like some fresh content with a lot of these characters, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like just kind of seeing them in, not even just in their element, but just kind of, again, like we said earlier, like seeing them interact with like other characters that maybe they never interacted with before. Maybe again, having Ansem the Wise take Naminé under her wing. I love that idea so much. That would be amazing. That would be like the final thing for like to bring his redemption, maybe a little like full circle, is just to actually apologize to Naminé, but also like you mentor her
and pass something on to her. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited, man. That's all I gotta say.
Hell yeah. Well, listen, I want to give a big shout out to everybody who tuned in. Big shout out to you, Andy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look in the episode descriptions, you will find links to all of Andy's profile, his YouTube channel, his Twitch channel, his Twitter. You got to follow this man. He's one of the best streamers in the game. Always a joy to watch. If you're interested in Persona 5 Royal, he's streaming that now, among other things. Yeah. Listen, the future of Kingdom Hearts is bright. I'm so excited for any sort of announcements that we can get this year. KH20 looks to be a lot of fun. And, look, they've got big plans for this series, and they've made that very clear. Especially, we've seen it since Kingdom Hearts 3 dropped with all the content we've got. But this was a good time. I want to thank again everybody who came out. I want to give another special thank you to the Sages of the Lodge. For everything that they do. And if you want to become a Sage of the Lodge, there's a link in the episode description. I don't need to tell you that again. But anyway, listen, if you're on Twitch, please stick around for the raid. YouTube doesn't have a function like that yet, so don't you worry. People on YouTube, feel free to leave at your own leisure. But yeah, let's go hit Josh. We're gonna go hit Josh.
Yes, I was gonna suggest Josh, but let's do it.
So everybody stick around, please. Again, Sages of the Lodge, a lot of love for you, YouTube channel members, the Twitch subscribers, all of you. Thank you all so much. Lots of love. Going to be coming back with some more content. We're streaming Legend of Zelda tomorrow. We're streaming Neo on Saturday. We're streaming Kingdom Hearts on Sunday, and then we're gonna try and come back at you.
Neo?
Oh, we're doing Neo, baby, and I'm gonna come back, guys, at you guys with some more Kingdom Hearts theories and Final Fantasy theories. We might.
He's crushing it.
We're trying, baby. We're trying.
Man, sub to this man. He deserves all of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Thanks again, Andy.